API data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Schrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Schrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive.
Compute This pro tip number 753. Have you ever wondered how the bad guys always seem to find a way into your computer? Gone are the good old days of email worms and I love you viruses. Nobody wants to steal your data anymore, or in many cases even your identity. Today's cybercriminals want to sell access to your computer or hold your data for ransom. The bad guys are exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to break into systems that are supposed to be hack-proof. These vulnerabilities are always newly discovered, and the criminals have a brief time to exploit them before they get patched. Antivirus and firewalls do not prevent these attacks, but you can minimize your computer's exposure by installing all security patches as quickly as possible. The average computer needs 12 patches a week. That's not including the ones that are automatically delivered to your computer. Boost your cybersecurity by staying on top of it manually, or use a patch installation program like Secure Updater to get your computer the patches it needs. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. The number to join us on the program this morning is 888-250-2091. Thanks, everybody. The one time I don't look at the comments on Facebook for the first 20 minutes of the show, they're like, hey, Thor, you forgot to plug in the microphone. So, like, we can see you, and you look great. You look, fabulous, fantastic, but we can't hear you. So there were no lip readers, unfortunately, watching at the time, so that there was no transcript, and now the audio's back. So I apologize. The Facebook feed was, for the first 20 minutes, was mimed. Oh, so many things the filter just kicked in there and caught so many things, and then they didn't make it out of my mouth. That's a new thing. Like 20 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program today. Let's go into those phones real quick. Paul, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This?
Yeah, good morning, Thor.
Morning.
This is Paul. I have a question and a compliment. I'll go with the compliment first. I had my Secure Updater installed at your Village Point location on February 6th, and I'm enjoying it a lot. But beyond that, I was in and out in less than half an hour. I brought the monitor in. No, I brought the desktop in, and I think it was Jerome installed it in less than half an hour. And also, Amy at the front desk was very, very helpful when I asked her about how I could use two monitors at the same time, and she showed me how I can use the HDMI port, and I think it was the VGA port.
Correct.
That I had off my, yeah. So I never knew you could do that. And just in about 5 minutes, she instructed me on how to do that. So I'm very thankful for their help and their speedy service, and I'm enjoying the Secure Updater a lot.
Well, thank you, Paul. Now you're corrupted, because once you go to two monitors, you can never go back.
I never knew how to do that, and I've been wanting to do that, and then thanks to you guys, here I am. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, the two monitors are a lot of fun. I agree.
All right, what's your question?
And my question is, when I go to Facebook to listen to your After Schrock program, it might play for 15 to 20 minutes, and then it just locks up, and I get that eternal circle that just keeps spinning around, and it won't play beyond the first 20 minutes on Facebook for me. And I tried that 2 weeks in a row. I tried to listen to your After Schrock program, and all I could listen to is the first 20 minutes.
Gotcha. Well,
Any idea why that's happening?
The video is posted up on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. Now, the thing with Facebook is a wonderful free tool. So we don't want to complain about our free tools. Okay. Elon did not buy Facebook, and sometimes we talk about things on the Aftershock, and those things might generate, warnings or restrictions or clarifications, fact checks, things like that. Third, if you get in a situation where your Facebook, if you're watching any Facebook live video and it's locking up like that, especially longer form videos tend to do that more than short, little Instagram reels or something, refresh the page. Hit F5 on the keyboard or click the refresh button on your browser and refresh the page. And usually it'll kind of reset that cache and allow it to continue forward again. So those are just a couple tips, Paul. Thank you very much for the call. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that everyone in Omaha was able to take care of you and get you set up with Secure Updater and a couple monitors. And it sounds like you're in hog heaven over there. So we love it. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program, just like Paul did. If you want to give us a call, ask a question, make a comment, we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate, good for anything your heart desires here after the end of the program. Now, we mentioned a little bit about security. We've talked about Secure Updater, how it's on special. When you think about the NSA, you think about like them hacking other people, right? You don't think about the NSA telling you how to keep your computer safe, but who would be better to tell you how to keep your computer safe than the NSA? Because of course they've got ways, you know what I mean? So like these things aren't going to slow them down, but they're going to slow down your average criminal. They start out with some basic stuff that, again, it's something that might sound repetitive for those of you who have listened for a long time. But for those of us that might be new to the program, you may not know that running Windows 7, for example, running an outdated operating system, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, is one of the top ways to get infected with a virus or malware infection or to have your personal information stolen. There is this, my wife and I were talking about this, there's this general belief that I'm not doing anything interesting, so why would anyone want to spy on me? Why would anyone want to hack my computer? I'm not doing anything interesting. Well, here's the thing. Except in the rarest cases, nobody knows you from Adam, right? You're not a kingfish. You're not Steve Jobs. You're not somebody that you're not Bill Gates. We're not trying to come after you, but we don't know that you're not Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or maybe even Elon. So let's hack that thing, dig through all your stuff and see who you are. And then if you're nobody important, we'll just take your computer and add you to the pile of computers over here, the unimportant people, the, what do they call those? Not despicables. I can't think of the word. Deplorables. We'll add you with all the other deplorables over here. And then we will sell access to your computer to other bad guys who want to use you to infect your friends and family. How does that sound? Good. Yeah, we like this. That's what happens when you run outdated operating systems. So don't do that. Stay on Windows 10 until 2025 or Windows 11. Those are your choices. Those are the only two Windows operating systems that are still valid, that are still safe to use. Let me see. Next up in the line is keep your router secure and up to date. We've talked about this on the program. If your router is more than 5 years old, you probably should replace it. There are firmware updates. You need to make sure you install those or at least check for those once every 6 months or so. When you change the batteries in your smoke detector, because we all do that every 6 months, right? Or when you hear that weird beep, it always happens in the middle of the night and you don't know which one it is. Yeah, that's me. Also, the NSA actually recommends something that's a step further than even something that I'm doing. They want you to segment your wireless network. So all of your Internet of Things devices, like your Ring Video doorbell or your thermostats that are all internet connected, should have their own dedicated Wi-Fi. Then you should have a Wi-Fi for all of your home devices that's separate. And then you should have a guest Wi-Fi. That's what you give the friends and family who come over so they can't access your stuff either, to maintain your ultimate security. Now, that might be best practices, yes. Even I will admit, guys, when it's like, okay, this might be a little over the top, but I mean, it's legit. I mean, China can hack those IoT things and then they can get into your other devices. Use strong passwords. That's a duh. Use multi-factor authentication. That's a duh. Use security software. We've talked about that on the program. Follow best email practices, i.e. don't click the link. The link is never true. Be careful when using social media. Okay, that's fine. Public Wi-Fi is a little risky. So those are the keep your computer safe, guys. It's the same stuff we're talking about. Even the NSA is coming out and saying there's some things we should say. And it's the stuff that we're saying every week here on the program. So if you want to keep yourself safe if you want to stay NSA safe, Just keep listening to Compute This. 888-250-2091. We're going to take a quick break here, guys. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of those Schrock services that maybe you don't know we have. We're going to test your knowledge and see if you know all the things that Schrock can do to keep your computers working the way you want. Coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations can't teleport technicians to you, but online help is only a click away with the Schrock Desk. Subscribe today and get unlimited help whenever you need it.
Remember the good old days when virus detection worked like Where's Waldo? Spot the virus in the striped shirt and you win. Today's infections are changing hourly to avoid detection and use social engineering to trick you into making mistakes. Using yesterday's security to defend against today's threats is like using leeches to stop an infection. It just doesn't work. We recommend Sophos Intercept X, antivirus backed by Schrock's virus-free guarantee. Sophos uses the power of AI to detect the patterns of a virus attack and responds with Schrock's custom actions that stop it fast. With Sophos on your PC, Mac, Android, or iOS device, you get the state-of-the-art protection you need to defend against the most advanced attacks out there. In fact, if your device gets a virus while running Sophos antivirus, Schrock will remove it for free, guaranteed. It hasn't happened yet, and we intend to keep it that way. Ditch your dad's antivirus and keep your device, data, and identity safe with Sophos and Schrock Innovations.
And now Compute This pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier, so take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. At least 45 people are dead in the sinking of a migrant ship in the Mediterranean Sea. It happened off the coast of southern Italy in the Calabria region. The Italian Coast Guard is still searching for survivors. 82 are known to have survived the sinking. The crash of a medical flight near Reno, Nevada, Friday night kills 5.
A care flight, a medical flight, crashed in Stagecoach, Nevada, about 45 miles southeast of Reno. Now, the victims included a pilot, flight nurse, paramedic, a patient, and that patient's family member. The Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority says that plane crashed, a Guardian flight, and the company headquartered here in Utah, still working on getting more details about the victims. The incident remains under investigation.
Amy Ney of Fox 13 Utah. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Increasing clouds with a high today of 54. It'll be breezy. Winds out of the southeast increasing. Could gust as high as 28 miles per hour this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms likely overnight. A 100% chance, becoming windy with a low of 41. Cloudy through mid-morning, then gradual clearing on Monday with a high at 54. Tuesday, look for partly sunny and a high near 50. There's your forecast. I'm Roger Olson.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome back into Compute This. Halftime's over. I hope everybody refilled their water bottles, got their potty breaks. I hope Maggie's got her donuts because it is time to roll on Compute This. Now, I led you into this segment from the previous one with quite possibly the worst tease ever. Like, stay tuned and we're going to tell you about all of our great products and services coming up next on Compute This. It sounds really, really, really annoying. But as we always do, we're going to make it fun because there's stories behind everything that we do. How the service came to be. And sometimes it's kind of fun stuff. But before we get into it, let's jump into those phones real quick. Beth, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Good morning, Thor. I really enjoy your radio show.
Well, thank you.
I have a question that has been bugging me. It hasn't been discussed today, and maybe it's been discussed before. But Windows 11, I understand that sometimes you have to get a newer computer. But do you also have to get a compatible newer modem and router and printer and mouse and keyboard?
Great questions. Good questions. So Windows 11, Microsoft is trying to remove any barriers it can to move that would prevent you from going to Windows 11. With that said, there are some limitations on the hardware because Windows 11 uses virtualization technology to create basically little bubbles inside your computer to keep you safe. You don't see any of this. It's like microscopic bubbles, like those germ things that people talk about that don't really exist. We all know that they're just made up, but because you can't see them, duh. But basically, the virtualization technology was not available on processors before 7th generation Intel processors. So just to make life easy, we'll call it 8th gen, Microsoft said. So you need an 8th gen Intel processor or higher. So it's something in the last 3 or 4 years to run Windows 11. With that said, though, your printers that are compatible with Windows 10 should all be compatible with Windows 11. Now, I will throw an asterisk on that because there are some customers at Schrock that have a printer that was from like the Mesozoic era, and we have worked our voodoo magic to make this, Windows 3.1 dot matrix printer print on Windows 10. There's no guarantee that voodoo magic will work for Windows 11, but if you have a newer printer, for example, if you have an Epson EcoTank or the HP Tank thing that they've got their own now. Actually, we just bought one. It works really good. If you have a newer printer, you're going to be good to go. Your router is a piece of the network equipment, so your computer, it will interact with it no matter what is there. Even if your router is an outdated, ancient piece of garbage that lets anybody through the door that wants to come into your network, your computer will still work with that router. So you don't have to worry about any other equipment on your network. Your printers should be okay. If you want, if you have a question about your specific device, if you're thinking about upgrading, just call us in the service center and say, hey, I have an HP OfficeJet, whatever. Is it Windows 11 compatible? And we can check and make sure it's compatible for you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Thor.
Hey, no sweat, Beth. Thank you for the call. I appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning on the program. All righty. So for those of you who don't understand what just happened there, see, Beth called in, and Beth is in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate as a result of her phone call. You see, she didn't have to bathe us in unnecessary compliments or any, completely okay if you want to, but you don't have to do that. You can have just a genuine question and call in to 888-250-2091, ask the question, get an answer, and get in the drawing. It works out real well. Although if you do have gratuitous compliments, those are always welcome. All right, 888-250-2091. So there's a lot of different services that we have at Schrock that we don't talk about a lot. One of the most recent ones that we've introduced that we talked a lot about, and then suddenly it just kind of got quiet, not intentionally. It was just one of those things like, my wife will be the first to tell you that Thor Schrock has shiny object syndrome. And what that means is something is new, something is shiny, something has my interest, my complete interest, wholehearted interest. And then it gets a little duller and there's something else over here that's shiny, and I kind of look at that. So I have learned in life, in work, to surround myself with finishers. I'm really, really good at starting things and not so hot at following through and finishing them. So you bring people around you that are good at doing that. I will be the ball of energy that gets it started, and then we bring in the team to actually keep it running. And that's where Freedom Modular is. Now, Freedom Modular was an object of contention in the Schrock household. The lovely Kimberly, let me see if I can quote her correctly. We are not Blue Hippo. For those of you who don't know what Blue Hippo is like late night TV. There's a commercial that comes on and it's like, I got a laptop for $14.99 a month. It's amazing. Yeah. You're just like, what? So we're not Blue Hippo, because those Blue Hippo went out of business because guess what? They sold computers to people who couldn't afford to buy computers for low monthly. It was like Rent-A-Center for computers, and they went out of business because guess what? People couldn't pay the bill. So they didn't pay the bill, and they didn't bring the computer back, so they left with the computer. So my idea with Freedom Modular is that we have a very unique customer base. especially right now with the inflation challenges that are out there. If you're on a Social Security income right now, God bless you. I don't know how you're keeping up. I genuinely don't. It's not possible. Don't feel bad. It's not possible to keep up. And so how does a person in that situation have the technology that they need to do their online banking, to communicate and keep up with the kids and the grandkids and everything else? How does a person do that? You're going to go out and buy yourself a holiday special for $1,500? No. You're going to go out and buy yourself an ultimate upgrade that's coming up on sale in April here for like $499? No. You're going to keep your old piece of junk computer working as long as you can, probably. When it breaks, you're going to skip the maintenance because it costs money, and then when it breaks, it's going to be expensive, and then you're going to be in a world of hurt. What if there was a different way to do it? What if there was a Blue Hippo-like way to do it, but different? So the idea behind Freedom Modular is it's our base model computers. So we have 3 laptops, 3 desktops to choose from. It doesn't work on computers that are on sale or specials, like no ultimate upgrades, no holiday specials. Those are special scenarios. But this is intended for a person who needs a computer, doesn't want to have the unexpected expenses that go along with having a computer. If something breaks, they don't want to have to worry about buying a new warranty. They don't want to worry about any of that stuff. So you pay a fixed amount, which is a mathematical calculation. So the more you ask for, the higher the amount is. The less you take, the less it is. Makes sense. But it's, like $20, $25 a month, something like that. And you get a computer. And you get the Schrock service behind the computer to make sure that the computer is going to work well. If something stops working, Schrock fixes it. You still get to choose your own antivirus software. We're not going to force you into our stuff if you don't want to be there. Of course, you're going to pay for our stuff if you want it, though, and it is the best. So, it's one of those things. But all the same, the computer itself, your connection to the outside world with Freedom Modular, the dream is that it's affordable. Now, here's where it gets really crazy. We actually make more money when you buy computers through Freedom Modular, and you actually spend less money when you have a computer through Freedom Modular. How in the world is that? How does that happen? Well, because all the services you would have to subscribe to have the same level of support and service that you get with Freedom Modular would cost you a lot more money than you're spending when you get Freedom Modular. And when you get Freedom Modular, it's like you're subscribing to all of the services. You're a complete customer. Most people don't subscribe to all of the services. And so as a result, Schrock does better. So this is one of those weird scenarios where creating a product or service that works well for you works well for us. And this is the best thing in business is when you have an exchange of goods and services and both parties walk away feeling like they got an amazing deal. Now, the only thing that throws a wrinkle in this is the same thing that put Blue Hippo out of business. What happens if somebody walks away with a computer? What happens if someone steals a computer? Which is why we limit Freedom Modular to existing Schrock customers. So you have to already have a relationship with us. You already have to have used our services before. We have to know you so that we can then trust you and you can trust us. And it works both ways. Haven't had a single person miss a single payment on a Freedom Modular deal so far since we introduced it like 6 months ago. So if this is something that's of interest to you, we would be happy to help you get set up with Freedom Modular in any of our service centers. Just give us a call. We can take care of you. Other things that you may not know that we do. Free pickup and free drop-off. Did you know that we will come to your home, your apartment, your business, as long as you're within a 30-mile radius of a Schrock location? We'll pick up your computer, bring it back to the service center, do whatever we got to do to it, and then bring it back to you. No charge for that at all. Also, we do on-site work. So sometimes when you're, especially with network things, or setting up a wireless printer, for example, it's difficult to do that over the Schrock desk. And if you bring it into us, we can't do it. Like it has to be on your network. It has to be in your home when we set it up. So we send a technician to you. We have an on-site service. We'll come out and help you out. And the last thing I'm going to tell you about is sometimes when you drop your computer off at the service center, there's something happening in your life that you need it back fast. Now, normally we're pretty quick, 24 to 48 hours. We're pretty quick. And speaking of pretty quick, listen to the Aftershock here, guys, this week. During the Aftershock, we've never shared this before. But this week on the Aftershock, I'm going to tell you the stories that my technicians brought back from their shopping experiences at our competitors' locations. Now, I'm not going to name the competitors. That's not what it's about. But every year we send our technicians out to our competitors to shop their locations to see what they're doing well, what they're doing poorly. Nothing raises morale like a good downward social comparison, right? And then once in a while you learn something. You're like, hey, that's a good idea. We should do that too. We're not beyond that. We'll take that. Give me a good idea. But I'll share those stories with you here during the Aftershock. But one of the things that we do at Schrock is if you're in a situation where 24 to 48 hours, maybe that's not quick enough for you. That's really, really quick in our industry. But maybe that's not quick enough for you. Well, then we have an ASAP service that you can pay an extra $50. You bypass anybody in front of you in line. You get a dedicated technician that works on your computer from start to finish to get it done as quickly as possible. This is very handy for people who are coming in from out of town, who want to come in at 10 o'clock in the morning and drop off their computer for an 8-hour maintenance checkup and then pick it up same day when they go back home because they don't want to make 2 trips into town. That ASAP charge or that ASAP service is something that will allow you to do that. Basically, it doesn't guarantee a time frame, but what it does guarantee is that we are going to work on the computer from start to finish and get it done for you as quickly as possible. So those are just a few of the things at Schrock that we never talk about on the radio show. We never talk about ASAPs or on-sites or, we talk about the Schrock desk. We talk about this. We talk about that. We never talk about these other services. And they're like the redheaded rotten stepchildren of the Schrock Innovation Service stable. And that is not right. Just because they have red hair. Redheads. 888-250-2091. That's the number to join us on the program, guys. We're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, we're going to jump on the phones and grab Greg's call. And then I'm going to tell you about central bank digital currency, which, again, is the worst tease ever because it sounds Bueller. It sounds boring, right? But no, central bank digital currency will allow the government to literally turn your money off. They don't have to take it from your bank account. They could turn it off, or they could restrict what you can spend it on. They could just turn it off for certain categories. Maybe they don't want you to buy a gun, so you can't use your money to buy guns now. Or we can tell you that you must spend your money by X date or you'll lose it because we need to juice the economy, but we don't want to inject a bunch of inflation-causing money into the economy. So now we're going to expire your money if you don't use it. Make sure you go buy something good. Get the kids something nice. We're going to tell you all about central bank digital currencies and a bill that's introduced to ban them in the United States coming up next on Compute This.
If you can dream it, Schrock Interactive's website developers can make it happen. Refresh your website, automate sales and marketing, and grow your business today with Schrock Interactive. External hard drives are handy. You can back up multiple computers to them or even use them to move lots of data from one computer to another. Computer users have been buying the same old external hard drives for years. While our computers have been getting faster, we still do backups that take hours or watch epic progress bars creep by to move files. Schrock wanted more for our customers, so our innovators created the fastest external hard drives on the planet. Schrock modular storage devices are up to 50% faster than Seagate or Western Digital externals and are modular in the truest sense of the word. We can create whatever size and speed of drive you need for all of your needs, and all modular storage devices come with a data restoration guarantee. If you use our drives for backing up and your computer's hard drive fails, we'll restore your backup to your repaired computer for free. Fast, simple, and flexible technology solutions from Schrock Innovations. It's what we do. Compute This Pro Tip 299. There are enough mothballed computers in U.S. homes to give one to every man, woman, and child in the country. Many of these computers find their way into landfills where they can leak cadmium, lithium, and other nasty chemicals into the groundwater. Schrock Innovations is very proud of the fact that we recycle more e-waste every year than we create. You can drop off any old or broken computer equipment to our service centers at any time, free of cost. We only charge $15 just for monitors because they are especially difficult to process. No appointment is required, and we accept all computer-related equipment like printers, keyboards, speakers, and accessories. Additionally, the rare earth elements in computers can be recycled right here in the U.S. to reduce our reliance on supplies from foreign countries. Take a moment, drop off your old computer equipment today, and Schrock will make sure it's properly recycled and put to good use right here in the U.S.
This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys. The hour just blows by, right? Gosh. If only we had another one. Well, wait, we do. It's called the Aftershock. We're going to do it after this here on Facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, where you can join us. You can tune in. Now, if you don't do the Book of Faces, or maybe the internet's all, whatever happens, we do post the videos at SchrockInnovations.com later as well. You can check it out there. But on the Aftershock today, we are going to I go see movies. My wife and I, we used to go see a movie every Friday. And the movie selection has been so garbage lately that we're literally like, we got to find something. Is there like anything at the museum? There's a Marvel exhibit. Okay. Do you want to go see the Marvel exhibit instead of going to like the not movie that's out this week? And hopefully someday there'll be movies again to go to. But there was a movie this weekend that we were able to go see called The Jesus Revolution. And it was a movie about hippies. And I have to admit, going into it, I was a little like, but it was a darn good movie. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to go over the shopping results. Each of our service centers went out and shopped one of its local competitors. Now, I'm not going to tell you who the competitors are. If the competitors are listening, they'll know from our description of their facility. But we're not going to tell you who they are. But we're going to tell you what the impressions of my employees were coming away from there. And we use this as an educational tool for my people, because when you work in an environment every week, you become kind of nose blind to it. So like, you'll notice that maybe it's a little dirty over there, or maybe that your displays haven't been dusted, or that one of them's not working, or one of the TVs has, got garbage on it instead of, schrockaganda. That's what we call Schrock propaganda, Schrockaganda. You don't notice these things, but when you walk into somebody else's place, it's really easy to see all the stuff that's like, ooh, what the heck? But then it makes you come back to your own place, hopefully with some reflection, and say, maybe I should look at these things. And so that's the whole reason we do it. And yes, it is also fun to go out and see what other people are doing. So we're going to talk about that during the Aftershock today. So stay tuned for that. Facebook.com/Schrock Innovations coming up at the conclusion of the program today. But before we go there, let's get into these phones here real quick. Greg, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
So Google tells me my email is 96% full. My sister-in-law she's working on like Family Tree, and she sends thousands of pictures over 10 years. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out a way to get all of those into some other file. Is that possible?
Absolutely. All right. So the first thing is, when I'm assuming you're using Gmail, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you use Gmail, you can configure Gmail to work with a third-party email client. In English, what that means is you can check your Gmail email in Outlook or Thunderbird or some other client on a computer, another program. What happens when you do that is you're going to download all that email from Gmail onto your local hard drive, and then you'll have a copy of it. Now, I'm assuming because your email is getting full, your concern here is, what should I delete? Because there's so much in there. I don't want to delete any of it. I want to save it. So then what you can do with having this on your local computer makes it a lot easier to save the individual images to folders. And then when you delete the email from your local computer, it will also delete it from Gmail. So it stays synchronized. But it gives you one nice way to keep it all together. Now, let's say maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to back it all up to your computer. Well, then we just break the link. And then you've got a backup copy of everything that was on Gmail. You can wipe your whole Gmail out, delete everything. And then you still have a backup copy on your local computer. So there's absolutely ways to do that. It's called an IMAP connection to Gmail. There's a few settings you have to turn on in your Gmail settings. Then you need a client program. Outlook is one you would pay for. It's going to be the most full-featured version. Thunderbird, Mozilla Thunderbird, is a free one that you don't have to pay for. And both of them work just fine with Gmail. You set it up to check your Gmail account. You type in the username and the password, and it pulls all the email down. Greg, this is something we'd be happy to help you out with in the service center as well. It's a little bit more involved than I can walk you through on the radio as far as the actual step-by-step setup. But to answer your question, it's absolutely possible.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, no sweat, Greg. Thank you for the call today. I appreciate you joining us on the program. So real quick here, we got about 4 minutes here, but three minutes. Oh, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. What? Okay. Really quickly. Central bank digital currencies. What is it? Imagine you don't have dollars anymore. Like literally they don't exist. You have digital dollars. Now, a lot of people would say we already have digital dollars because I use my debit card for everything. And is that not a digital dollar? Well, you're not wrong. But a digital dollar would be a different. So the dollar that you spend on your debit card is represented by a greenback in the bank account. You can go to the bank and take your dollar out of the bank and hold it in your hand. What if you couldn't do that? What if every dollar that you had in your bank account was a programmed software cryptocurrency, government issued cryptocurrency? So don't let that scare you. That the government can turn off or turn on or restrict in any way they want, anytime they want, anywhere it is. So a pallet of cash goes to Iran. Next president comes along and says, oh, we shouldn't have given that pallet of cash to Iran. He can just turn it off. Goes away. Pretty crazy, right? Well, central bank digital currencies would allow the government to know exactly how much money you have, what you spend it on, and where you're doing with it. So now a U.S. legislator is proposing a ban on central bank digital currency. Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer has recently introduced a bill that would ban the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency to anyone. Not only that, but it would prevent the Federal Reserve from creating any situation that directly connects the Federal Reserve to an end user. Why is that important? If you have a central bank digital currency, you don't need a bank anymore. Well, who's going to lend you money then? The Federal Reserve. Direct. We don't need JP Morgan. We don't need Cornhusker Bank. We don't need any of these things because it's all a relationship directly between you and the Fed now. And this Minnesota congressman's like, yeah, this is probably not a great idea. And I think he might be right. Congratulations, Beth. You got yourself a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Marissa will get a hold of you on Monday to get that to you. We'll see you all next weekend for another edition of Compute This.
From the Amish Furniture of Nebraska studio, your home for made in the USA furniture. This is News